Hey everyone, welcome back. So today is Tuesday. We are going to cover a couple of things here on today's show. We're going to cover, obviously, we're going to talk about Bitcoin, see what's going on there. It's actually recovering a little bit from the day's lows, so that's a good sign there, but it's obviously not great. We're also going to take a look at the miners. They were down for the most part. The majority of them were down today. And then we'll take a look at a story from Cleanspark. They reached 3 exahash update, so we're going to look at that. And DMG provided their quarterly results. I didn't do a video yesterday because I was waiting on the results to come out on Edgar. They didn't get uploaded until, it was probably after 8 o'clock, I believe. And by that time, it was just too late to do a video. So I was like, I'll do it today. So we'll get into that. And that is it. So it should be a pretty quick one today. So as always, you guys know the drill here. I'm investing in the following coins and companies, not financial advice, for entertainment only. Do your own research. And let's take a look at the markets really quick. The markets have been down for the most part, like 3 last trading days. So today, Monday, which was yesterday, and Friday. Friday was a big down day. But the S&P was down another 1.1% today. Dow Jones was down 0.95%, and the Nasdaq was down 1.12%. And then let's take a look at the actual Bitcoin market here. So Bitcoin's at 19,850. We are, really, really close to where we had our support line drawn here at 19,500 or so. And we've been kind of bouncing off of that a little bit here. If we zoom in, we came pretty close. We came in to within like $30 of it, actually. So we're really right on that. And it is bouncing off of that today as well. So it bounced off of it on, this would have been Sunday, Monday, and now obviously third day in a row almost coming down to it. It's obviously testing it right now. And it bounced off of it, and we've been kind of rebounding a little bit here in the last couple hours, which is kind of good. So other than that, we're still looking okay on the daily chart. The 1 hour chart, we have obviously gone up here in the last couple of hours. We're down a little bit here in the last 2. But going further out, we can see here, let's take a look if we can find some points to take a look at. So we were back here on this low. So we are still higher on the 1 hour based on the peaks here. So that's a good sign. That still leads me to believe that we might be going back up a little bit and still have room to run up a little bit as well. On the daily, I still think we're possibly going back up. I don't know if we bottomed out here yet. As long as we don't break this 19,500 support, I think we're going to be okay. But that's obviously going to be the test here going forward for it. And we'll see in the next couple of days and weeks if we're able to bounce off of it. Ethereum is at 1,538 right now. It is also bouncing off of its lows today as well. And it's kind of following suit with Bitcoin a little bit. So Bitcoin's up down 2.18% on the day, and Ethereum is down 0.79 roughly or so. All right, let's take a look at the other miners here really quick. So ANY was down today 2.62% to 61 cents. Argo was down 7.13% to 41 cents. Bit Digital was down 1.35% to $1.46. Bitfarms was down 3% to $1.28. Cleanspark was actually up 0.95% to $4.27. Cores was down 0.9 to $2.19. DigiHost was down 1.48% to 93 cents. DMG was down 1.3% to 22 cents. Greenidge was down 4.62% to $2.48. Hive was actually up today 2.73% to $4.89. Hut 8 was down 4.23% to $2.04. Iris Energy was up 1.94% to $4.73. Luxfolio was up 9.33% to 7.5 cents. Marathon was down 2.37% to $11.53. And Mawson was down 5.24% to 70 cents. And Riot was down 1.15% to $6.89. So Luna was down 7.14 to $2.86. Stronghold was down a lot, 15.66% to $1.40. And that is it for the miners. So let's get into the news really quick, and we'll get into DMG reporting, quarterly reports, and we'll call it a day. So Cleanspark hash rate exceeds 3 exahash following summer of acquisitions. As you guys are well aware, I'm invested in Cleanspark, so this makes me really excited. And so Cleanspark today announced its Bitcoin mining hash rate has exceeded 3 exahash, tripling in less than a year. That is no small feat to get done, obviously. Coming from nowhere, basically in 2021, they basically bought some mining equipment back in end of 2020. And we're really accelerating that push in 2021. And obviously got from 0 to 3 exahash within about a year and a half or so. So nicely done. Cleanspark accelerated growth can be attributed to new partnership and a strategic financial roadmap that has helped the company navigate current market conditions. The company now has 3 fully owned and operated facilities more than 31,000 Bitcoin mining machines operational and a daily production high of 13.25 Bitcoins. So that's really good as well. In terms of both hash rate and monthly production, Cleanspark has cemented itself as a top 5 Bitcoin mining company in North America. We'll actually have to see that coming at, well, August is ending obviously tomorrow. So we'll get some numbers from the miners in September, early September hopefully, and then we'll be able to compare them to see where they actually stack up as far as at least the miners that I cover, to see if they're in the top 5. Continuing on here, and we have a quote here. So, we prepared for a rough market, which allowed us to take advantage of unique opportunities that propel the company further, said Matt Schultz, executive chairman. Because of that, we're growing our market share as a publicly traded Bitcoin miner, which is true, which is great. So let's just take a look at see where they are now and where they are going to be here. So Cleanspark, right now I have them at 3.2 exahash, based on the acquisition that they did with just in July 14th. You know, they got 1,061 What's miners from, I believe it was that facility, or they bought some miners at a pretty good rate. And then they also, in August 9th, bought a facility with 3,400 miners with roughly 340 petahash of hash rate in there. So that's coming online here. We had it for July and in September. I had it set for September, it looks like. So it looks like they got in there a little bit earlier than we anticipated. So we'll have to update this number probably for August here to get into possibly at 3 or somewhere around there. We'll have to see where that comes in at. But nonetheless, that still leaves us with plenty, I wouldn't say plenty, but that leaves us with about 1.6 exahash rate of growth left this year. That's, you know, already been bought for, paid for, as long as they can get those in. So we do have quite a few of the 100 terahash miners here left, along with the S19 Pros. Those are supposed to be coming in August. So I wonder if those came in at all. We'll obviously have to wait and see for their August update. And then September, October, November, and December, January as well. So they do have still quite a bit of miners to get installed. So that's a good sign there. And that is it. I mean, right now we're looking at them to be at 50% net income from gross revenue at about 27 cents or $27. They're at $4.27 right now. So still plenty of growth left in them. As far as once Bitcoin, I think, starts going back up, that PE ratio should go up. I have them currently at a PE ratio of 1.6, and that's just taking the market cap, dividing that by, what am I dividing that by? The combined total of revenue here for the last 3 quarters, and then the quarter that we're in, potentially in this one right now, that ends next month in September. So great news by Cleanspark on that one. And let's get into DMG. DMG actually didn't provide any press releases on their updates. The only thing that we have here is, let's look at this really quick. DMG is they were just letting us know that they were basically releasing the quarterly financial results yesterday, but they didn't come out until later on SEDAR, or SEDAR, I don't know how you pronounce it, SEDAR. And we waited for those to come out. We finally went through the numbers. I went through the numbers today. And here's what we got for them. So we'll just go look at the numbers, and these are all in Canadian dollars, except where it's where it's noted that it's in USD. So assets has decreased here, cash and cash equivalents, to 1.2 million Canadian dollars. I'm just going to say dollars going forward, and then US. I'll try to make the difference between the two. From 6.2 million, and then what else do we have here that was interesting? Digital assets decreased quite a bit, about 11.2 million, from 21.8 to 10.6 million. And accounts receivable was down as well, from 7.8 million to 0 million. So total current assets is way down to 17.8 million from 43 million. And I believe this is their Q3. Correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I'm just using Q1, Q2 here for the year, on this year at least. And $2, it's basically 13 million and 33 million. So obviously about $20 million difference here in the quarters. Total assets decreased by about, what is that? 14 million or so. So not too bad. Where was it? Property and equipment increased a little bit. Long-term deposits went down a little bit here. Long-term investments went up a little bit, and amount recoverable. So they recovered about $6 million from something. Don't know exactly from what. Going down here, total liabilities decreased, which is good, to 5.9 million Canadian from 9.7. So it's 4.5 million USD compared to 7.46, which is also good. And total liabilities decreased as well to 4.59 million USD from 7.5. So that's a good decrease there. Shareholder equity, we're at 77, so that's a little bit of decrease from 88 million USD. Revenues, here's an important part of it, so we'll just go through this really quick. Self-mining in Canadian was 8.9, almost 9 million, compared to 10.26, and this is obviously contributable to Bitcoin going down in price. Hosting was down a little bit as well to 946,000 Canadian compared to 973. Mining pool fees decreased by about almost 50%, closer to 40% or so. They did have some forensic and consulting income of $5,400. Software license did increase a little bit, and some other income of $33,000. So that got them to a total here of 10.5 million in revenue, which comes in at 8 million in USD, compared to 9 million in USD from the prior quarter. So obviously a small decrease, and we were seeing this across the board pretty much, except for a couple miners here that were actually improved the revenues compared to the prior quarter. So that's okay. Total expenses was 11 million Canadian, 8.5 USD. Prior quarter was 7.9 and 10.3 in Canadian. So obviously a little bit of an increase there, and the increase is from depreciation mostly. Research and development went double from what it was. So that's not good. Yeah, stock compensation went down, which is good. General and administrative went down. That's also good. And operating and maintenance costs went up about 300,000 of that. So depreciation obviously hit them here, along with research and development for the most part. Gross profit, we're looking at around 60.28%, which is minus depreciation. And prior quarter was 68, so gross profit has come down a little bit, about 8%. And net income loss, they had about 43,000 in net income from last quarter. This quarter they were down 9.4 million, and that is basically unrealized revaluation of loss on digital currencies of 8 million. That was a big one there that hurt them. And what else do we have here? Impairments of amounts of recoverable was down 1.2 million Canadian. And gain, loss, and disposition of assets of 1.1 million. So that really definitely hurt them there. So that's why we got a negative 9.4 million here in USD. Total comprehensive loss is at 11.5 roughly, compared to 1.3 on the positive side on the prior quarter. So they had a loss of 7 cents per share compared to basically a zero per share last quarter. Share dilution hasn't been too bad. It looks like they only diluted about 55,000 shares or so in the quarter, which isn't too bad, which is actually pretty good. And then looking at the stats here, we can see their debt to equity ratio was 0.0848 in the prior quarter. That's now 0.0594. Their current ratio is 4.4 compared to 3.085. And if we look at their DMG, where are they? They're right there. Current ratio, I have it 3.09, which is I think the same thing here. 3.09, which is pretty good. There's still more. Basically, they have enough cash to pay their current liabilities 3 times over, which is good. And then they still have enough cash. If they took all their current assets minus total liabilities, they would have enough, obviously, to pay that off and still have about 9 million left over. So that's a good sign as well. So on those 3 things, they're doing really well right now. And hopefully they can keep it up. Other than that, the other part of it was over here. So looking at it up here. So I'm at 6.4 million. They came in at 6.9 million roughly when Canadian can convert it over to USD. I was off by about 7% on them right now, which isn't too bad. Still want them to be within 2.5%. So like I said before, I'm going to be, averaging out the Bitcoin price for each month instead of using the end of the month Bitcoin price. Hopefully we can get a little bit closer to that, at least on when things are going down. We'll see how this computes when things are going up with Bitcoin price. All right, so now that we have that data plugged in here, we updated the last 3 quarters, which are now using the actual data provided. So they got them to 27 million for the last 3 quarters. Current quarter, we're looking at about 5.2 million, depending where they end up at, and still in August and September. We'll get that a little bit more updated here as well, see where they came in. But we're looking at about 32 million right now. If we're using the 50% net income from gross revenue, we're at 16 million roughly. And we're using an EPS of 15 here on them. They'll get them to $1.48. They are right now 22 cents. So still a huge upside potential. They are about 65% installed from their future hash rate, from their current hash rate. So they do still have a little bit of growth left in them, about 360 petahash or so. And their average per miner hash rate is pretty good, of 100 terahash as well. They did report, let me see here, in August that they had 324 BTC was their hodl position. So we'll see if that gets updated for, obviously, at the end of August and in September. We'll see what they have there. Other than that, pretty good quarter. Obviously, a lot of the companies are doing depreciation on the miners and things like that. That's obviously knocking them down. And it's just been a tough market for them, obviously, with Bitcoin sliding in price, month after month. They're obviously mining less. Difficulty is also going up. So not too bad. They were able to sustain, at least minimize the losses, I think. So overall, not too bad. Biggest thing we want to see is obviously continued growth. Their future hash rate is only 1 exahash, so we want to see that go up at least double or triple within the next year to 2 years, if not more, if they want to stay, obviously, relevant in the industry, I think. Because the hash rate is going to increase over time, so is the difficulty, so they're going to be making less on it if they just stay static at 1 exahash for longer than 6 months, I guess. All right, so that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, hit the like button, subscribe. Helps me out tremendously. Also, the spreadsheet is available to my Patreon members. Thank you to everyone there for their continued support. And that's it. We'll see what happens tomorrow as far as any other news. We'll provide you guys with that update when that happens. And that's it. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you guys have a great night. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.